What's up?
We're here for the Wrestling Through the Years podcast. I'm the big, beautiful, sexy, oiled up machine, Dizzle, and I'm here with the bombastic Doug.
What's up?
Papa Fluff. And we're here with the master of sexy himself, Money E. How you doing, Eric?
Pretty good. How about you?
Pretty good. Don't smell too much cheese. I know you like smelling cheese. So now we're here post-Thanksgiving, and we hope everybody had a good turkey day, and we're here to bring the people what they want. And that's us and my beautiful voice, and even Doug, even though he looks homeless. I know what I'm doing, nutsack. All right, so
I mean, you figured it out now.
So Survivor Series 1988. We're here for a special Turkey Day when it was the Thanksgiving staple, and we got a big one.
I told you
today.
to get your blows in off air.
Well, that's when you do your blowing. But yeah. This is a big one. It's going to be a fun one. Shut the fuck up. All right. This is Survivor Series 1988. It's going to be a big, fun one. We got the Twin Towers and the Mega Powers. It's a classic Survivor Series format, so that's going to be fun to talk about. Before we do, we have a couple things. We're going to do my thing first, and then we're going to do Doug's thing. Doug's thing probably takes a while. It usually does. But my thing, instead of Worker of the Week, I'm sorry. Instead of Worker of the Week, what we're going to be doing here is drafting each. I'm going to go, then Eric's going to go, then Doug's going to go because he's the caboose. And we're all going to pick a superstar from this era, AEW, WWE, it doesn't matter. And we're going to pick our perfect Survivor Series team.
Okay.
And then we're going to put it in the old school group to see who likes it the best.
Awesome.
You ready, dipshits?
Yep.
All right. I'll go first with the first pick. I'm picking Sami Zayn.
Wow. I didn't see that coming.
Now, can tag teams get drafted together or no?
No.
All right.
That's cheating, you fuck.
Oh, yeah, like you've never cheated.
I'll cheat on you.
You already have with Eric.
Who do you pick, Eric?
Bobby Lashley. He was going to be my worker of the week, so why not? I'll just pick him.
Who? Dolph Ziggler?
Bobby Lashley.
Oh, him too.
I mean, same guy.
Bobby Lashley.
They look a lot alike.
All right, your turn, fuck.
All right, cocksuck.
Get the fuck out.
You always bitch at me for not being in the screen.
Oh, your head's taking up too much room today.
He just woke up.
Looks like a fucking bowling ball.
I'll grab you by the nuts.
Pubes hanging off it. Go ahead.
Randy Orton.
That's a terrible pick.
Shut up.
No, I thought it was a pretty good pick for you.
I'll rip your love handles off just like you tried mine.
Well, yours are bigger. All right, Randy Orton. My next pick. You ready, Captain Fudgy?
Yeah.
I have. You ready?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yep.
Right now?
Mm-hmm.
CM Punk.
Nice.
Oh, why not? I mean, they're going to be partners tomorrow night.
All right, Eric, your turn.
I wasn't insulting you. Dude.
Does Brock Lesnar count?
No, Brock doesn't. Yeah, you can do Brock.
Okay, I'm doing Brock Lesnar.
Eric might win. Your team sucks. Go ahead.
I'll
splash that water in.
Adam Cole.
Oh my god.
Shut up.
All right, number 3. For number 3,
Yeah.
the third one, the third pick, the
Yeah.
guy I'm picking third, the third guy.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes. All right, Eric, who are you picking?
Cesaro, a.k.a. Carlos.
Carlos. He does not go by Carlos Colon, Eric.
That's why it says Cesaro.
Get your fat ass back on the table. Claudio eats too many cannolis. All right. All right, your turn. Your turn.
All right. Damian Priest.
All right. Oh, this fucking team says. All right. I have the ring general, Gunther.
Damn it!
Ha ha! He's
I'm
mine.
going the next pick.
He's mine, bitch. All right, who do you want? Number 4.
I'm gonna go with what's his name?
I don't know. You're supposed to tell us.
Connor's son.
Braun Breaker.
Braun Breaker. Thank you.
Bad news, Braun Breaker.
Yep.
All right, Big Dutchy.
Hey, so this is number 4.
Yeah, that comes after 3.
Oh, good. Kevin Owens.
There you go. That's a pretty good pick
Well, so you're not going to insult it this time?
for you.
Yeah.
All right, final pick of the hummingbirds. I'm picking.
Oh wow. I'm scared that you're gonna pick my next.
Fuck you. I'm taking with my next overall pick. I'm not taking somebody that MJF.
Okay.
All right, Eric. Who do you got?
Roman Reigns. I think I only picked one AEW guy. Did I? No, 2.
All right, Doug.
Will Ospreay.
Daniel Bryan. Okay.
Oh wow.
Well, Will Ospreay. You don't even like him. All right. That's our team.
I don't like Adam Cole either.
All right. On Team Hummer, we have Sami Zayn, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, Gunther, MJF. On Team Eric, we have Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar, Claudio Castagnoli, Braun Breaker, and Roman Reigns. And on Team Dutchy, we have Randy Orton, Adam Cole, Damian Priest, Kevin Owens, and Will Ospreay. So we
Doug picked 2 of my favorite wrestlers, and I didn't even pick them.
You know it's a shitty team, but that was a good pick. All right, Doug, do your shit now.
What was I going to do?
Something with the old school group.
Oh, yeah. So, because we were doing the 1988 Survivor Series today, I decided to take it in Wrestling Through the Years. I actually have a couple things going on right now because in the Facebook group, Wrestling in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, I have a thing going right now where I got an event going on. It's WWF versus WCW Survivor Series 1991. And I put up teams of 5, and everybody's going to vote, or everybody is voting. And if you, and the order of elimination is determined by the votes you get. So the more votes you get, the higher your chances are of being eliminated. Well, same format in Wrestling Through the Years, except for I did Survivor Series rematches. And I did 3 rematches from 1988. And the first one I did was the Andre the Giant Dino Bravo team versus the Jake the Snake Roberts Hacksaw Jim Duggan team. So here's how the votes kind of turned out. So Ravishing Rick Rude, surprisingly, will be the first one eliminated off the Andre team. Then Scott Casey gets eliminated off the Jake the Snake team.
Poor Scott Casey.
Huh?
The show.
Did you just say you missed Scott Casey?
No, I said friend of the show.
Yeah. So then the next person eliminated would be Dino Bravo, then Andre.
Friend of the show.
Andre the Giant died. Andre the Giant died before Daniel was even born.
Oh, never mind.
What did he say?
He said Andre the Giant was a friend of the show. I kind of wish he was. You know how
Andre's probably in his grave, like, who the hell is that guy?
Yeah. All right. So then, after them being eliminated, then we have Hacksaw eliminated, then Harley Race, then Jake, and we have the match actually turned out into a draw, which is kind of anticlimactic. But Mr. Perfect survives. So do Tito Santana and Ken Patera because they all had the same number of votes. So there was no winner there, so that kind of sucked. But what do you expect by something I came up with? All right. The next match I put up was the Twin Towers versus Mega Powers matchup, which is Bossman, Akeem, Ted DiBiase, King Aku, and the Rooster versus Hogan, Savage, Hercules, Hillbilly Jim, and Coco Beware. So first one eliminated was the Rooster. Second man eliminated was Coco Beware.
Oh, damn it.
And then Hogan eliminated.
Yes.
Then Hercules eliminated.
Yes.
So Hogan and Hercules going.
Eric's happy.
Akeem eliminated, then King Haku.
Yes.
Then Hillbilly Jim.
Yes.
Then $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase.
Yes.
And then Bossman and Savage each had 3 votes, so that match ends in a tie.
Oh.
All right.
I was hoping Savage was going to win.
Try not to get a tie here. All right. So the next match was the big tag. You better plug that butt back up, you motherfucker. All right.
What the hell?
So, he farted. All right. So the next matchup is that I post the rematch for is Team Demolition versus the Team Powers of Pain. And yeah. And first team eliminated were the Bolsheviks, then the Rougeos, then the
what did you say? The bullshit?
Bolsheviks.
Oh, okay. I thought you said something else.
All right. So the Bolsheviks, the Rougeos, and the Conquistadors eliminated off the Demolition team. Then the Young Stallions eliminated off the Powers of Pain team. Then
this is the tag team one, right?
Yeah. Then the Hart Foundation eliminated, and the Bulldogs eliminated. The Hart Foundation and the Bulldogs eliminated off the Powers of Pain team. Then Demolition eliminated off the Powers of Pain team. Demolition eliminated off the Demolition team. Powers of Pain eliminated off the Powers of Pain team. And we got another goddamn tie. It's the Brainbusters and the Rockers. So no definitive winners.
Should I go vote on all these? Decide who wins right now?
I mean, you
Okay.
could.
I'll pick the winner.
I mean, the first one I read off closed, like already.
You
So
son of a bitch.
I know.
You can pick live on air.
What the hell happened
All
to
right.
you?
All right. Well, let me ask you this because you didn't vote. All right. Who does Kurt Hennig survive, or do Tito Santana and Ken Patera survive?
Tito.
Okay.
Did I vote on this? I don't know if I did.
Tito.
So, all right. Who survives between Bossman and Macho?
Macho.
Not you. You already voted, didn't you?
I don't know if I voted on this one. Did I?
Then Boss Man. I want to keep it a tie.
You.
All right, Macho.
Okay. All right. And then who survives, the Brainbusters or the Rockers?
The Brainbusters.
All right.
The Rockers.
Eric doesn't get a vote. All right. Ready? Do you have anything else, or can we go to the pay-per-view?
We can go to the pay-per-view because I did post other ones, but since these were the ones that of the show that we're covering tonight, we don't have to go through them.
We'll do the other ones next week.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Do you guys prefer 4-on-4 or 5-on-5?
5-on-5.
5-on-5 because that's the way it started, and then because they didn't really have a lot of guys on the roster and they wanted to do like 5 matches, it moved to 4-on-4, and then 94 they actually tried to bring it back to 5-on-5.
I think that's the way it should be.
And then
I go 5-on-5.
Yeah, and then it went back to 4-on-4, and then in 2003, 2001, it went back to 5-on-5 again, right?
You're damn right. But in 1988, it was 5-on-5, and we got 13,500 people in attendance, and we're in the Richfield Coliseum in the Richfield Township of Ohio, in God's great country. And November 24th, 1988. Happy Thanksgiving, baby. The tagline is "Teams of 5 strive to survive." Naked.
It was 4 matches, right? Or 5?
That was the format. It was 5v5.
5v5, yeah.
You big hunk of beef. We got 4 good matches, 4 solid, big, strong matches with everybody on the W. That's the thing about back then. That's the thing about the 5-on-5 format, and especially the 10-on-10 fucking tag team match. You had 20 guys in the fucking match.
Yeah.
But it works to an extent, but in the tag match, everyone was starting to blend together. There was only a few people that really got over.
Yeah, and I think the year before when they did it, when it was the 10-on-10, that match only went like 37 minutes. So they were able to do like a little bit more.
And by the way, it does say something about this show. Technically, we were a different name, but it says something about us and this podcast. And maybe it says how old we are, or maybe it does add to our street cred. But we have had 2 people that are wrestling in matches tonight on our show.
Yeah.
Because not only do we have Scott Casey, but Sam Houston's been on the program.
Right. And remember, Scott Casey actually gave us a little bit of information.
We full on interviewed Scott Casey. We just did roundtable stuff with Sam Houston.
Yeah. Because Scott Casey, like I said, he gave us a little bit of information about how he ended up in the match.
But it's crazy.
I'll put that interview in the description. I think I saved it. So I'll put it in the description if anybody wants.
Those are 2 guys, and they're, even though they're job guys that were kind of thrown in because they didn't have a lot of guys.
Yeah,
they were still in big man. And Scott Casey was fucking in the co-main event, for God's sakes. He tagged with Jake the Snake Roberts. That's gotta mean something.
He was in a big team.
Well, Sam Houston, because he had been feuding all year with Dangerous Danny Davis. Sam Houston was meant to be on the opening.
He was booked?
Yeah, because he had been feuding all year with Danny Davis.
He was booked.
Now, obviously, he wasn't going to go that far. And a lot of these guys that were on this show, like this for a lot of them was their last appearance. Because Vince started to realize it's like, maybe we don't need all these guys on the roster.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was one of those things, and I love matches like it. Like, I love the format of Survivor Series.
I know, it was always your favorite, and you like doing that with the Hasbros when we were kids, even though we're 10 years apart. So you were doing this as a grown man, fucking weirdo. But fucking,
I was 20.
I did it for a long time too.
I wish they would have at least 1 or 2, 1 women's and 1 men's.
But I was telling a story, Eric. So, so shut the fuck. So I remember you having the Hasbros and you getting like 10 of them, and you and me making our own teams out of Hasbros in the old ring and shit.
I remember there was actually a thing where I actually had like the pictures of like the Hasbros or whatever, and I actually took like poster boards and I made up like teams of 4.
Yeah. And
then something happened to those because like I was trying to like recreate, because I wanted to like start doing them. Because I think I had some of the majority of the Hasbros to do the matches, and I couldn't find the fucking poster boards, and I found out somebody actually threw them out.
Oh,
so those are Hasbros that you took out of the case?
Yeah, he used to have a bunch of looses that we would play with.
Yeah, I got a whole upstairs in my room. I got a whole drawer full of them that they were my probably not a good way to say this, but my play toys.
Yeah, his childhood toys.
Yeah.
And then they became Hummer's childhood toys. Okay. Even though I had a lot of Jacks and a lot of those toys before they went to Mattel.
I remember when I first started to, like, I started thinking about collecting them in the package. And this one was 9. And I had a couple of them, but I didn't have them loose, but I had them in the package. He looks at me and goes, "Huh? Can I?" And I'm like, "Well, they're going to be worth a lot of money." He goes, "Come on. We want to play with them. Come on. Come on."
9 years old.
9 years old. come on.
Like Tony Soprano.
Yeah.
Will you actually take it
We're
out?
playing with the Tony.
Yeah. So then I ended up taking a bunch of them out of the ones I had in the package, which I had Undertaker, I had Luger, I had Ricky Steamboat, I had Mr. Perfect,
And they
Oh,
I had
shit.
Eddie. I mean, I have an Undertaker upstairs, but like I sold my Luger, I sold like
Yeah,
the
you had a
Jannetty one.
Luger. I know you had a loogie.
Yeah, but I sold them on eBay for like $100 and something.
Oh, you still okay? You still got some
You
profit.
dirty little dog making your cash.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, I have them. I do have a bunch like upstairs, and because when I turn 30, I'm like, all right, I got to start like actually like collecting them in the package now.
You ready to get into the matches, Slapnuts?
Sure.
We have the Ultimate Warriors team, which we'll make our own teams for these. We'll call these the Sexy Bandits. We have the Ultimate Warrior, the Brutus Beefcake, Sam Houston, friend of the show, the Blue Blazer, Owen Hart, and Jim Brunzell, the former Killer Bee.
Yeah.
And then we have the Honky Tonk Man, Ron Bass, Danny Davis, Greg Valentine, and Bad News Brown.
Yeah, which, by the way, Brunzell is actually replacing Don Morocco. Because Morocco was originally supposed to be on this team because he had been feuding with Greg Valentine. But while on the European tour, because they were touring Paris, France, like 3 weeks earlier, maybe even a month earlier, Morocco actually got into an argument with one of the road agents, Nick Bockwinkel.
Ooh.
And Bockwinkel went to Vince, complained about it, and Vince basically, they were just going to suspend Morocco, but Morocco's like, just release me. I hate it here. So he got released on the European tour. So they had broken up the Killer Bees anyway. So they told Brunzell, they're like, yeah, you're going to do the match.
Yeah.
And he did the match.
Yeah.
And honestly, this was a pretty entertaining opener.
Yeah.
Because the Warrior was cool.
Yeah.
Danny Davis went out first.
Right. Via Brutus Beefcake. And that was like right off the bat.
And Jim Brunzell actually got a pin when he got rid of Bad News.
No, Bad News eliminated him.
You're damn right he did. And Jim Brunzell actually got eliminated by Bad News.
Yeah.
I have it right here. So.
There you go.
And then Bad News got counted out.
Yep.
Sam Houston then get pinned by Ron Bass.
David Sam.
The Blue Blazer tapped out the Valentine's figure 4. Beefcake and Honky got counted out.
Nope.
Bass got pinned by the Warrior, and then Valentine got pinned by the Warrior.
No.
And
Warrior.
that's the way the cookie crumbled.
The Warrior was Intercontinental Champion at the time.
Yeah.
And he looked like $1 million, Doug.
Yeah.
He was. You could tell that they were gonna put the rocket strap on him at some point because he looked fucking good and he was a good soldier.
They were gonna push him, yeah. Of the matches, I think this was the least favorite of mine, but it was still good.
This isn't my least favorite. If we're gonna scale this out of 5, I would give this a solid 2.9.
I would go 3.3 just because the babyface got a clean win here.
I'll go with solid 3.
I thought the Ultimate Warrior looked really good.
Yeah. And I feel like he was the only one that should have technically looked good.
Blue Blazer didn't beat anybody, but he got some shit in.
He got a lot of good shots in.
So I thought this was a good one.
This went 17 minutes, just under 20. I think this was the least.
Yeah, this is the shortest one. They all go, and that's why I like this one, I think. Because the rest of them are 3 hours and 2 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
It felt like it. Especially this next one.
Yes, this is the tag one. This is the Team Power.
That's why I had to rewatch this a couple times because this was so long.
Right.
Maybe this one was my least favorite, actually.
This is Powers of Pain against Demolition, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, 42 minutes this slog goes. And basically, we have the Powers of Pain, the Warlord and Barbarian, the Rockers, Shawn Michaels, and the man that rubbed my back while he was hammered, Marty Jannetty. And the British Bulldogs, Davey Boy Smith and Dynamite, the Hart Foundation, Bret Hart and Neidhart, and the Young Stallions, Roma and Jim Powers. So you have varying degrees of quality on that team. And then you have Demolition at their prime, Axe and Smash, the Brain Busters, Arn and Tully, which were very good, the Bolsheviks, Nikolai and Boris, and the Fabulous Rojus, Jacques and Raymond, and then the Conquistadors, Uno and Dos.
Yeah, you had some legendary teams on this team in this match.
No more legendary than the Conquistadors.
They actually had a hell of a performance.
Yeah.
They had heart, baby.
Now, what's funny?
I would say maybe 4 or 5 are legendary.
Yeah, I would definitely say that. I remember when I met the Powers of Pain. Eric, you were actually with me when we were at the same event, but I don't know if you were standing next to me or not. When I met the Powers of Pain, and I told them that this was actually one of my favorite Survivor Series matches, and they're like, because I handed them, because when I used to go to signings back in the day, I would take magazines with me, old WWF magazines, and I would have the guys, if they were guys from there, I would have them sign them. And the Barbarian looks at me and goes, "Oh, you a fan of the old days?" I was like, "Yeah." I go, "One of my favorite matches that you guys were in was the 1988 Survivor Series, the tag team match." Barbarian looks and goes, "Who was in that?" And Warlord starts naming off teams. He's like, Bulldogs were in it. Bulldogs were in it. Hearts were in it. He goes, Demolition was in it. He goes, the Mask Guys were in it. Barbarian goes, who? He goes, the Mask Guys. I said the Conquistadors. He goes, yeah, and Warlord goes, yeah, like I said, the Mask Guys. And Barbarian goes, all right, well, who did we team with? And Warlord just looks at me and says, you want to tell him? Mainly because he couldn't remember. I said it was you guys teamed with.
It would be an honor.
Yeah, I'm like,
I was
sure.
made for this moment.
Yeah.
Actually.
This was my time to shine. I'm like, it was you guys, Hearts, the Bulldogs, the Young Stallions, and the Rockers versus Demolition, Bolsheviks, the Rougeos, the Brainbusters, and the Conquistadors. And Warlord just looks at me like his jaw dropped a little bit because I could actually remember that. And Barbarian looks at me and goes, you remember that? We were there and we don't even remember that.
Was this before we had the podcast?
Yeah, this was way before. This was 2015.
That's funny.
Okay.
And he's like,
you're a smart guy. I mean, at work and shit, I remember my one buddy, he had like a ton of wrestling figures and he was like, can you know them all? And I'm like, if I don't, Doug does. And I got like 3 of them wrong, and then Doug came, and he's like, "Yeah, that's Bushwhacker Luke," or something.
Yeah.
And he was just like, "Yeah, this is that," and he knew it right off that. Like you're the guy. You're the encyclopedia.
Yeah. So like the fact that I got to show off my I guess you could call it a skill. 2 former wrestlers.
And they appreciate it. They didn't just call you a nerd.
Yeah, no, they're just like Barbarian looks at me. He goes, "They're very impressive."
Yeah.
And then Barbarian asked me, he goes, do you remember who went over? I said, yeah, you guys did. Fuji turned. And Warlord's like, I knew that.
He knew that.
Yeah.
Jack Perry, Eric, you got to change your picture now that the Jack Perry run didn't work.
Okay.
Now that they're already doing another takeover angle, you got to change it to Moxley or Marina Shafir.
Or I'll change it to Bobby Lashley.
Yeah. And another thing, probably the more important thing about this match is this is the Bulldogs' last appearance, which kind of came. It was because they had their issues with the Rougeos. And for anybody that doesn't know the story of when Dynamite got his teeth knocked out by Jacques Rougeau, it was there had been a series of pranks that had gone on, and Kurt Hennig, because if Kurt Hennig figures, okay, well, the only thing that could make this better is another practical joke.
Yeah.
Kurt Hennig put locks on Jacques Rougeau's bag, which was a common prank back in the days. You put a lock on, especially where so they can't open it, right? Mm-hmm. So put a lock on the bag, and put a master lock, like a locker lock on the bag.
Locker lock.
So Kurt Hennig did that. Well, Jack Rougeau automatically thought it was Dynamite. So he basically went and said in the locker room, and the Bulldogs weren't there, says, I am tired of Dynamite. I am tired of the Bulldogs. If they fuck with us again, I'm going to Vince. Like, I've had enough.
He's done.
Well, Kurt Hennig happened to be in the locker room, and Kurt Hennig went to the Bulldogs and said, hey, just so you know, Jack's talking shit about you.
Yeah.
Because he saw that you guys, somebody put locks on his bag, thought it was you guys. And Dynamite said, oh, it wasn't us, mate. And Kurt's like, oh, I know it wasn't you. It was me. And Bulldog just looked at, and this is all told by Bret Hart. Bulldog just looked at Kurt, or Davey Boy looked at Kurt, and he's just like, really? Like, you're going to, like, they're mad at us because of you?
It's your fault.
And Kurt's just like,
oopsie.
So while the Rougeaus are playing cards one night in the locker room with a few people, Dynamite comes up from behind Jack and smacks him upside the head. Yeah. So Jack, having enough, said, I'm going to... Now, Vince had a meeting with the guys and said, look, if there's any more violence, tells the whole locker room, if there's any more violence, whoever initiates the violence is getting fired. And so they're coming back. They're at a TV taping, and they're coming back from catering, and the Bulldogs are talking to Pat Patterson. They're walking around with them, and Bad News Brown and Jim Powers and a few people are walking behind them. And Jock comes around from the corner and sucker punches Dynamite. Knocks the teeth out. Starts bleeding from the mouth. So Vince finds out about this. Vince pulls everybody in the room, and Jock's just like, look, he hit me, so I had to get him back. And Jock then said, Jock, defended himself, and then a lot of the wrestlers came up and said, look, we like Jock and Raymond, like, don't get rid of them. Dynamite's a dick anyway. Dynamite had to take time off to go get his chompers fixed. And there was actually a point where Dynamite then started plotting revenge against Raymond, or against Jock. So then Jock, knowing that the rib, because the Bulldogs love to rib and play practical jokes, and Dynamite was a dick when it came to that shit, Jock went to Dino Bravo, because Dino Bravo was friends with Dynamite, and wrote down a fake name on a piece of paper and said, I need to call this man every night to let him know that I'm here. And I've already given him Dynamite's name. So if something happens to me and I don't call this man will come looking for Dynamite and his family, and bad things are going to happen.
You put a hit out on him?
It's a fake hit. It was a fake name. And so then Dynamite basically said, he goes, all right, well, I guess I can't do anything. So then Dynamite and Davey went to Vince and said, you know what? We quit. Because Dynamite's just like, if I can't get revenge on this fucker, then I can't be anywhere near him.
Well, at least they made Raymond do the job first. They took the Rougeaus out.
Well, yeah, because they knew that that was part of like Davey and Dynamite like doing the match. Because like, Dynamite didn't even want to do the match.
They're like, we'll do it, but they got a job quick.
Yeah, because Dynamite wanted nothing. Even though Dynamite and Jock had interaction in the match, it was just like
they had to be professional.
They had to be professional, which Dynamite did not want to be, but they were able to get him to do it. And I think a lot of it had to do with Bret just kind of looked at him and said, look, just fucking, because Bret and Dynamite were brothers-in-law too, because Bret and Dynamite married sisters.
And I will say Bret and the Rockers in Barbarian looked very good on the babyface side. They really got over. And the Brainbusters were the heels that looked good.
Yeah.
I mean, Boris did a little bit. Zukov, he did a lot of bumping and stuff, and Demolition always looks good, but the Brainbusters kind of took the cake for the big spots. Like them and the Rockers had that big spot in between where they fought, and then they both got eliminated, which we'll get to. But Raymond Roju loses, and Bret Hart gets a roll up. 5 minutes and 22 seconds in the match, and they're out of here.
Yep.
Jim Powers gets eliminated. Old Jimmy Powers of the Young Stallions. Him and Roma got some good shit in.
They did. They showed a lot of like high flying ability, and they were. By the way, they had survived the tag team match the year before.
Yeah, but even it felt like because this was so long, lasted 15 minutes, it's like they still went a while.
Yeah,
but I liked it because Paul did a flip off the ropes and it landed on Boris or somebody else maybe. But then Jimmy did one on Boris, and Boris reversed it. So it's like he learned from it. And then that's how he got the pinfall. So I thought that was good booking.
I love the fact that Boris got his flowers, because usually Boris is the one doing jobs 3 minutes in.
Yeah. And then not too long after that, he loses to Marty Jannetty.
Yeah.
On a really good double team move from Sean and Marty.
Yeah, that was fucking fantastic. And like, it's so hard, I think, with that many guys in the ring. And WWE has actually tried this 10-on-10 since. I think they did it in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
But the action was a lot more fast and furious, I think. Like, because I think New Day got eliminated within like 2 minutes.
Yeah, and you had your fast, you had your rockers, you had your hard fight. You had some good styles in there, and even the Young Stallions to kind of keep the pace going. But after a while, it's like, oh my God, when's this thing going to end?
Yeah.
And especially, there was a lot, like, yeah, I remember 15 minutes in, you're like, yeah, there's still 18 teams left. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And then a little to my young childish brain, there'd be another half hour I'd have to endure. But it was a good match, but it was long. Yeah. Bret Hart gets eliminated by Tully, which is a very good win, and they get the Brainbusters over heavy there. And then fucking Tully and Arn do the thing with the Rockers where they get double DK, and that was a full-out brawl. To me, that's the best spot in the match. It really picked it up, and this crowd was really into it. Popped hard.
Yeah,
I thought it made the Rockers look like $1 million. And then Dynamite got eliminated by Smash. Smash got counted out. And the Barbarian beat Uno. Yeah. And didn't fucking the Conquistadors get like a Heart Award or something?
They got praised in WWF Magazine.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, they showed a lot of heart. They showed a lot of determination. Because they got the shit beat out of them.
Yeah. Early on in the match, not even at the end there. Barbarian was like beating the shit out of one of them for like 10 minutes. Yeah. And it's like every pinfall is like, is he done yet? Is he done? And it's like, holy shit, he's still kicking. And when you told me that, I was like, they do have heart, damn. But then when they lasted the whole thing, I was like, holy shit, they're the top heel tag team. They're better than Demolition.
And then when Demolition, because they ran the angle here where they did the double turn, which was, Fuji turns on Demolition and sides with the Powers of Pain. And what was funny about this was
I'll be back in a minute, guys.
Okay. So what was funny about this, Dan, was the fact that like Fuji holds the ring open, or the ropes open. Smash falls through. Then they attack Fuji. Then Powers of Pain come out, or Powers of Pain pick them up, or whatever. And they do this double turn, and they had TV like the next week.
Yeah,
they have TV the next week.
He changed his picture.
They have TV the next week. The fans that attended the TV taping, apparently none of them had watched Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Because they did an interaction with the Powers of Pain and Demolition, and they booed Demolition and they cheered the Powers of Pain. Even though Fuji was in the Powers of, the fans legit thought that Fuji turned babyface.
Big Fuji.
Yeah. And it's like, wait, none of them saw the fucking pay-per-view?
I'm back. Sorry.
That's all good, brother.
So, I mean, as far as what they give the match, I would give it, because again, it was one of my favorites, so I would give it a 4.1.
Oh, okay.
I'm a little off from that. I give it a 2.6. I thought there was good action and great spots in the match, but there was a lot of slog for me. So to me, it was a little hard to get through.
This one dragged on for me.
I thought the second half of the pay-per-view was greatly better than the first half, and I thought the first match was a little better than this one, so I'll give it a 2.6.
I give it a 2.8.
There you go.
Yeah, well.
I mean, the concept is fun, but I wish it was just a little bit shorter.
Yeah. Well, when the falls are like 10 or 15 minutes in between, it's kind of hard to get behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fact it's because it's like one person represented a team, so when one person eliminated, their team got eliminated. So it could have gone quicker. It should have gone like a regular Survivor Series. There was no reason. It was just so everybody could get a good amount of shit in, which is like I respect it, but still, it took a while. All right. We have Team Snake versus Team Perfect.
Yep, this is my favorite match of the card.
I really enjoyed this one too.
Yep.
We have Andre the Giant, Rick Rude, Dino Bravo, Mr. Perfect, and Harley Race against Jim Duggan. Oh, Jake the Snake.
My entire team is full of legends.
Yeah. that entire team is a Hall of Fame team. And then the team next to it's a Hall of Fame team. Yeah.
For the most part.
For the most part. So you got Jim Duggan, Jake the Snake Roberts, Scott Casey, friend of the show, Ken Patera, and Tito Santana, who did the cameo for Doug, so technically he's a friend of the show.
Yeah. Now, Scott Casey was actually – so the original person that was supposed to be on this team was supposed to be the Junkyard Dog, but he also got fired on the European tour, but not for mouthing off to anybody because he got pinged for a drug test.
That son of a biscuit.
So they let him go. So then, all right, they already split up the Killer Bees. So Brian Blair was going to take the spot on the team. Well, Brian Blair decided not to show up to Survivor Series and basically gave his notice. Said, yeah, I'm not coming, and I'm done. So Scott Casey, because they always made sure like a couple other guys were there just in case they were needed. So Scott Casey basically gets approached by Vince and says, hey, you're kind of over. You're a decent enough talent. You're in the co-main. You're on Jake's team. He's like, what?
I'm on Jake's team.
And he's like, all right. Now he was going to be. Huh?
When I heard that Scott Casey was in the match, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. So he ended up being in the match. Now, again, he really didn't like. He was there. He took like a lot of the.
He took some bumps. He did a little offense, and he looked good. But like they never really. And it's no offense to Scott because listen, and I am a Scott Casey fan. Like besides just having him on the show. I've watched a lot. Like I really liked his mixed tags. Like he was a good mixed tag partner for Sunshine when they were doing Sunshine against Missy Hyatt with John Tatum,
and world class, by the way.
Yeah, and world class. So he was a big deal. Like yes, in New York and he even said it himself on the show. He was a jabron. He was a underneath guy. He was a jobber. But in fucking Texas, he was the Texas heavyweight champion, and he was main evented on cards that had the Von Erichs on them. So Scott Casey was a big fucking deal in the territories, and we can't overlook that. Just because here he was one of the guys that Vince didn't get, and he was Cowboy Scott Casey. We already had Cowboy Bob Orton, and he's like a heel, so we can't really have a badass babyface Cowboy. So there's a couple things that went against him that really wasn't fair to him, and because he was always a good worker and a great in-ring talent, and that's not just because we had him on. That's true.
We were fans of him before we had him on.
He has the. I'll be honest, I didn't know much, and I had to go back a lot since, and I've since become even more of a fan.
Yeah.
seeing a lot of his old shit from the old from back in the territories and in Texas, he was the fucking man. And he always had the look and he had the big muscles and shit.
And I'll make sure I have the show in the description so people can listen to it.
Even if he got taken out rather early here. Which he still was the second guy out. Ken Patera
He did pretty well. He wasn't the first guy out, so
no. He lasted almost 10 minutes. Ken Patera, the former world's strongest man, or one of them.
Yeah.
Former bodybuilder. By Rick Rude.
Have him back on.
By Big Ricky. Which the heel team looked really good in the beginning. And poor Jake the Snake got fucked over.
Yeah.
He got a shitty baby face team.
Well, the funny...
I'm surprised he was a face in this.
Well, yeah, because this was around the time of the big babyface run, and he was, loved by the fans and all that.
Because they had already tried the shit with Hogan, but the fans were cheering him, so like, let's go baby instead.
Yeah, and it worked.
Yeah, I've always known him as a heel, so this is a different.
I've known him as both. He was both in the golden age.
In the golden age, he was both, and I remember I have a lot more. I do have a lot of fond memories of him as a babyface. Obviously, I remember he's most remembered for what he did to Savage, but
yeah, and that was he's got really good heel promos, and he was he's like a Randy Orton in my opinion.
Yeah,
he's got really good eerie promos, he could be a good. And the Snake became like an attraction that people liked. The Snake,
they sold the damn thing.
Yeah,
like Hasbro actually came out with an inflatable Damien back around the time when Hasbro first started making the figures.
So there you go.
Because you could get because Hasbro made special. Obviously, they made the figures, but you could also get the talking Hogan and Warrior. You can get an Ultimate Warrior costume. You can get a Boss Man costume. Yes, that was a thing. A Hogan costume.
You can get it all.
And they also sold an inflatable Damien.
Very nice.
So I never got it because Mom was deathly afraid of snakes. So that was not.
Yeah, but it's crazy because the Snake at first was like, oh, that makes this guy even more scary. And then eventually it's like, oh, this is why we like him. Bring out the Snake.
Yeah.
And even though he lost and he got his ass kicked at the end and two heels
still brought the Snake
on him. At the end, he got the big pop at the end and he got the big cheer. And that visual, if he would have won, it would have looked even cooler. But that shot of the Snake dangling on the rope next to him.
And Andre the Giant being so scared that he ran off.
That shit did look cool. It just kind of took away. And it was a weird finish, but let's get into it. Ken Patera jobbed to Rick Rude. Scott Casey jobbed to Dino. Harley Race took the L to Tito. Then Tito took the L to Andre. Jim Duggan's an idiot and hit them with the 2x4. So fucking he got eliminated and he left poor Jake by himself. Which out of all because there's been a few people that fuck their teammates over in this pay-per-view, but this was one of the most egregious because it's like, you're a babyface. Put the wood away.
Well, here's the thing. The referee did not see Frenchie Martin. And by the way, there's supposed to be two referees at ringside. And Earl Hebner, who was the senior official, he was standing out there, and he is allowed to call if interference is happening. Okay? He didn't call it. Frenchie grabbed Duggan by the foot. Then Duggan went back in with the 2x4 and attacked Bravo. Now, so that caused a disqualification, and Gorilla Monsoon went fucking nuts.
That's crazy.
He's just like, why isn't Dino Bravo disqualified? And it's just like they must have either had him distracted or Earl forgot that he's allowed to make a call.
Yeah. Earl's like, I don't know, motherfucker.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so it was just, so Jake kind of doing that to his partner.
Or Jim doing
that to his partner. It's just like,
Jake was even on the apron, like, what the fuck? Like, he put his hand out, like, hey.
Yeah, like, come on, like, do it behind the referee's back or some shit.
Yeah. So that happened. Then Jake got Rick Rude out, which was a good W for him. Nice DDT.
Yeah, but as soon as Jake hit the DDT, you could see Andre, the fastest he's ever moved in his life.
And he is getting old here, and he's getting towards the end, but he still looked fucking good. and he still looks speedy and believable. In the facial expressions, he looked like a big angry giant. He was a good heel here. So and the way he pounced on him, and then he puts him in the ropes and chokes him for too long, because as we know in wrestling, when you're in the corner and you're doing a move, you get a 5 count or in the ropes. And if you break the 5 count, you get DQ'd. And they actually did that rule here. And
then he held it on for like another 20 seconds.
So, and then they did it, and Jake, and I thought Jake was going to power up and be the biggest baby face and beat the heels' asses. No, Mr. Perfect runs and pins him, and it's over. When this happened, I was like, that finish was weird for a match I really enjoyed, but I was expecting, because it's the golden age, I expected the baby face to really rouse up and beat the shit out of him. But Andre looked tough. It got Andre over. He got himself eliminated while also helped his team winning. Mr. Perfect got to keep his perfect record, and I know that's the main reason they did it. And he got the chicken shit heel win, and he looked over. And I love Dino being a survivor, because
even Rick Rude,
Dino's the man.
Yeah,
even Rick Rude was pretty over.
Yeah, even though he took a job, but I thought this match was one of the best worked matches on the card, and even though the main event probably is my match of the night, because Hulk Hogan, baby. And this was like the prime rock and wrestling, Mega Powers badassery.
Yeah.
But I would give this, I'd almost go a 4-1.
I would probably say 4-4.
Because I'll give it a 4-7.
There you go.
If Jake had won, I would have gave it a 5.
It was a cool heel ending that you don't see a lot.
Yeah.
And the baby faces went over in the tag match, and the baby faces went over in the first match.
Well, I mean, the baby faces turned heel
in
a tag match, but still
counts. And you know what happens in the main event, because that doesn't work for me, brother.
Yeah.
Now we have the main event. We have some really good promos from both of them. I really like the Big Boss Man promo. He was a great heel. Yep. You had the Mega Powers, which is Hulk Hogan and Randy, Macho Man Randy Savage, and then 3 guys that could be the Mega Powers on their own: Hercules, Coco Beware, and Hillbilly Jim. Yep. Which you could tell they blew their baby faces in the last one, but and in the first match, because Coco.
Oh, sorry.
And Hillbilly was over. Go ahead, Eric.
I was going to say Miss Elizabeth looks beautiful.
She was the queen of New York.
Yeah,
she was the queen of wrestling.
And
absolutely gorgeous.
The funny thing is that like Coco got put in this match because he had the match with Boss Man at SummerSlam, so it made sense on a storyline level. Hillbilly was friends with Hogan, so that made sense. And Hercules was in the middle of the feud with Ted DiBiase, so it all made sense.
And now we have the Twin Towers, Akeem the African Dream, former one-man gang, with the Big Boss Man, who is very believable, Big Bubba Rogers, as I like to call you, Ted DiBiase, King Haku, the toughest man in the business, and an anointed uncrowned king, and the Red Rooster, Terry Taylor, made the main event, baby.
Yeah. And this was like, it was one of those, and people say it's like, oh my God, half these guys did not belong in this match or did not belong in the main event, but it's like the match worked.
No, it worked perfectly in the heels and the baby faces. I thought, because Big Boss Man was a good enough heel to kind of run that team, and Ted DiBiase too. And I mean, Akeem was fine. It was crazy he was in that big of a main event position, but still.
Well, he main evented the year before too.
Yeah, so it's crazy he was.
I mean, he was the gang, but
yeah, it's crazy that this gimmick main evented, but still. But Randy, and this was more about the story of the Mega Powers, and it was planning this whole match. It was a fucking 29-minute match that led to just planting a seed of Hulk Hogan holding Elizabeth at the end and Macho seeing it.
Yeah,
that's what. And the Mega Powers exploding. I've said, I don't know if I've said on the show, but I will proudly say that it's one of the top 5 best storylines in wrestling ever. WWE and everything. Macho and Hulk getting together, joining the Mega Powers, and them exploding and having a feud into WrestleMania is
probably the best breakups in wrestling.
Yes, it's one of the best storylines. Good friends.
Right.
It really worked. And Macho was so good, and Hulk was a great baby face. So
I consider me and Doug mega powers.
when you explode, Doug's gonna kick your ass. No offense.
Hey, no.
I'm just kidding. You'd fuck him.
I disagree.
I did take karate when I was like, I forget what age, but I did take.
The kid took karate.
So did I, and I wrestled.
Oh, okay.
You poked the kid in the eye, Doug.
I was still on the team, damn it.
You went full bushwhacker.
Doug will be my best friend forever.
Oh, the love you guys share makes me have joy in my butthole. All right. Like I said, the Red Roosters in the main event, baby. Guess who gets eliminated first?
The Red Roosters?
6 minutes in, old Terry Taylor. They're ribbing him again. He gets eliminated first by old Macho Dacho, Randy Savage. And then old Hillbilly, 9 minutes or about 10 minutes in, gets eliminated by Akeem. By the way, the heels come out to Jive Soul Bro, which I love. And they came out to that 2 years in a row, and that's amazing to me.
Yeah, which is funny. So, again, 1987 Survivor Series, the main event there was Andre's team, which was Andre Rude, King Kong Bundy, Natural Butch Reed, and the One Man Gang versus Hogan's team, which is Hogan, Morocco, Bam Bam Bigelow, Ken Patera, and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. And Andre, because he didn't have theme music at the time, when the whole team came out, they came out to Jive Soul Bro. So Slick, God bless him, was the manager in the main event. Him and Bobby Heenan together, manager in the main event, 2 years in a fucking row.
2 years. 2 fucking years. That's insane to me. And it's hilarious.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so 2 years in a row, Slick, he's a big deal. The Jive Soul, bro. Hillbilly gets eliminated by Akeem. Coco gets jabbed out to the boss man. Hercules loses to DiBiase. Now our baby faces are dwindling down, but then Randy Savage comes back with a win against DiBiase.
Thanks in part to Hercules, by the way, which was a cool moment and would have been even cooler if they would have showed it on camera.
It would have been nice if we got to see it, because Hercules goes out, punches Virgil, and then that causes DiBiase to get distracted, and Macho gets the yiggy out of him. But you don't see that when he goes to when Hercules you see him go to walk up and snatch up to Virgil, and then the camera pans up, and then and then the camera pans down, and Virgil's not standing there anymore. So you put 2 and 2 together, but you don't get to see the actual punch.
And the crowd popped. So the crowd got to see it. The crowd popped, and then DiBiase's yelling at Hercules, and then Savage pulls him down. You see bare ass. So you're not going to pan away to that, but you're going to so you're going to show his ass, but you're not going to show the guy trying to get the babyface pop by nailing the asshole that was responsible for him getting eliminated.
You're not going to get this guy over, but you're going to show Tuckus.
Yeah.
And they showed Tuckus, and that's what they did. And DiBiase got eliminated. And then Bossman and Akeem got counted out and disqualified.
Which added to the story of the match, because they had already handcuffed Hogan.
And then it was cool because Bossman got counted out, so he was like, fuck it. And then he got the nightstick and started beating the shit out of Hogan, and he became a Hulk pinata.
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool for a little bit. But I liked it because you left poor Haku in there. It's like, oh, I know what's going to happen. That Hogan's going to get uncuffed somehow, and Haku's doing the job here.
Once you saw that Slick was still at ringside, even though his guys had been eliminated, because even like Jesse's like, one of them was just like, why is Slick still out here? His guys are gone. And then whoever answered the question was just like, oh, they must have brought him back out here because he has the keys.
Yeah.
So it's like, but still, like,
yeah, and I thought it worked perfectly.
Yeah.
And then who had the cuffs and who got hit?
So Slick had the handcuff keys, and then Haku. So he held Savage, and once you saw that he was holding Savage, it's just like, all right, he's getting hit.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then he did, and then Elizabeth, because she's smart, she grabbed the keys out of Slick's pocket, uncuffed Hogan. Hogan comes in, and then you get the whole Hogan moveset in about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
He hits the big boot, which is an awkward big boot because Haku was like, I don't know if I want to sell this. And then he does the power slam, and he shows to the crowd, and then he does the leg drop, and we get out of here. And Haku does the job, and the Mega Powers win, and then the final two survivors. And it's a happy ending, but then we get that moment where Hulk's so happy that Elizabeth saved the day that, well, Macho Man, who just got his ass kicked for a half hour, which, by the way, he was the conquistadors of this match. He bumped his ass off.
Yeah.
And he was looking, and then he looks over while he's in pain, and Hulk Hogan's holding his girl by the tuchus. That's the second tuchus of the night. So he wasn't happy, and then we go out on
technically third because you did see Rude's ass.
Yeah, so we saw a lot of tuchus. So a lot of tuck, and so we go out on I am, and it's a nice happy moment. But Macho Man's looking around like, you motherfucker. So we're planting that seed for them to explode, and I think it works perfectly. So
Yep.
This match, I would overall give a 4.6 out of 10. I thought as far as the format and what it's trying to do and the way everybody got eliminated, I thought it kept you interested, and it was a great main event. And I thought this was probably the funnest part of the show. So I give it a 4.6 out of 5.
I would agree with the 4.6.
I give it a 4.4. I mean 4.5.
Yeah. I mean, and what was cool about this match is that, like, again, I have the edition of WWF magazine. I don't know where the hell it is, but I know I have it somewhere. That kind of recaps the event, and they talk like the tagline of the event of the recap was, you know, you saw a lot of heart and determination that night. And they're like, you saw a lot of heart and determination from the Warrior because he came back from 2-on-1. You saw a lot of heart and determination from the Conquistadors because they got the crap beat out of them all night. I mean, the magazine didn't say that, but they got beat up all night, but they just kept surviving to the very end.
Yeah.
Jake had to go 4-on-1. You saw a lot of heart and determination there, but he still lost 2-on-1.
Yes.
And then you saw a lot of heart and determination from Randy Savage because he got the heck beat out of him.
So the theme was heart.
Yeah.
So give your final thoughts and an overall rating out of 10 now.
Okay. So
Give it to him.
I love early Survivor Series.
Yes. This is your shit.
So this is my favorite thing because I feel like Survivor Series, the foundation was built on these elimination matches. And even though, yes, I am looking forward to War Games tomorrow night, I still think it is a crock that there are no traditional elimination matches tomorrow.
Well,
I agree.
Especially to me when you have the Wyatt 6 and the New Testament shit right there.
Yeah.
You could easily do a 4-on-4.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it sucks that they're not doing that anymore. And I get Triple H is trying to evolve, and I understand that because, you know, truth be told, I'm pretty sure that they've wanted to eliminate the Survivor Series concept, the traditional matches, since like 2009, 2010. But Vince also didn't want to kill the tradition. He wants to kill everything else.
Well, and that's the thing is I just don't think there's enough fans of it in there. Like, I don't know if Pritchard, because I know Pritchard likes it, I don't know if his voice is loud enough. Because Vince really liked it at first when he to destroy Starrcade. But then he's got bored of the idea and made it in kind of something else. And Triple H is an old school minded, more of an NWA fan. So he's a War Games guy. So he thinks War Games should be in the Big Four. Because it's still the Big Four Survivor Series. When you talk about the Big Four pay-per-views, it might be viewed as number 4. It's WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. But it's still in the Big Four. So I think he just wants that as far as the traditional match. I think he thinks that's a little gimmicky, and War Games is a little better for a story that he's trying to tell, which good for him. But like I said, you have little stories there. Like, you could easily make the women's match into a Survivor Series match, or you could make, like I said, the New Testament and the Wyatt 6. But go ahead, finish your final thoughts.
But like, so this one was, I didn't like 87. But this one to me was like the first like really good one. And I felt like they did it really well with 88 and 89.
Yeah.
But this one, because you could tell a lot of stories in this match or in this pay-per-view, which they did perfectly. And I felt like you did get a lot of guys over. Yeah. Like, you know, Warrior got over. Powers of Pain got over. Demolition, they started to get them over a little bit more as baby faces. Yeah. Rockers and Brainbusters had a really good showing. Jake got over even in the loss. Kurt Hennig remained perfect. Bossman and Akeem were looked at to be monsters. Hogan and Savage, obviously. So you did a really good job of getting guys over and getting guys moments to shine.
Yeah.
So overall, to me, this is a 9.
There you go. A near perfect pay-per-view.
Yeah.
All right, Eric, go ahead.
I thought this was better than I thought it was going to be. I'm glad we did it. So I thought each match was fun to watch. So I'd give it a solid 9 too.
Yeah, as far as very good. He gave it a higher rating than you. As far as
he gave it a 9.
He gave it a 9, you gave it a 9 too.
Okay.
Oh, you said a 9 too, like 9 also? Okay.
Yeah.
I really like this pay-per-view. And especially because Survivor Series has such a crazy history, because when you think of Survivor Series moments, a lot of people think of the screw job. And they think of because that happened in Survivor Series.
Oh yeah,
They think of the Big Alliance versus the WWE match. They think of the Corporation versus Team Cena. There's a lot of really cool in the modern era, and the Corporation versus Team Cena. That kind of showed that match can still work in the modern era.
Yeah,
because that was a really good match.
Yeah.
But in the history and the Golden Age Survivor Series is always the best because this is when it was the hottest, and this is when they really cared about the concept. So I would, especially because we got to see guys like not only Sam Houston and Scott Casey, who we've talked to, but like other people that you just don't always like Hercules and shit. I know he was in a feud, but like Coco Beware, you got to see some guys showcase that aren't always showcased, and they got to be tussling up with the big boys. So it was kind of cool to see everybody out there, and even Owen Hart early on. So I really enjoyed to see all the underneath talent that they really poured out here. And then we're kind of wrestling around the big butt like Jake the Snake and Hulk and shit. So, and I thought the guys that were supposed to got over well. So I thought this was a really good pay-per-view, and I give it an 8-4.
Nice.
It's a really good Survivor Series. Do you guys want to know what we're doing next week?
Yeah,
I already know.
All right.
I think, yeah.
We did top 10 underrated heels before. Now we're going to do top 10 underrated baby faces.
Oh, so he curveballed me.
You tricked me, Doug.
You never know.
That's what he had told me. That's what he had told me.
That's how we get you. When you think you have the answers, I change the questions.
Oh, just like last week when they switched it to 88 from 99.
Yeah, because he had said 90, he had said 99 earlier in the episode, and then he changed it to 88, which made me happy. Like, because
I hope we can do 99 in a few weeks. I request that.
We'll see, Big Bubba Rogers.
Yeah.
But this is what we're doing next week. So everybody, baby faces that didn't get the love they deserved, or maybe the crowd was with them, but the organization wasn't. Just the top 10 guy, not your Cody Rhodes and the obvious good baby faces, Dusty and shit, but the underrated ones. So we'll see everybody.
There's going to be a lot of guys from Golden Era on my list.
It's going to be a really fun time, and I'm excited, and we'll see everybody next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Later.
When Tunes combined tomorrow?
No.
Me,
I'm taking a week off because I got to write it.
All right. So
me and Doug are taking a break. I'm going to have a long day at work, so.
So we'll see everybody next week. Goodbye.
See you.
Love you guys.
Love you too.
Oh, yeah. Hi.
No,